What's up guys, so in this video we will be looking at the new feature of PHP 8.4 that is asymmetric visibility. So let's try to understand what this asymmetric visibility is and how this can be used in our code. So let's go to the official documentation of PHP 8.4 and try to understand it with the example that is given there. So here we are on the official PHP documentation website and this is the example that they have given. So let's try to decode this example one by one. So what does this say? As of PHP 8.4, property may have their visibility set asymmetrically with a different scope for reading, that is get, and writing, that is set. Specifically, the set visibility may be specified separately provided it is not more permissive than the default visibility. Okay, so let's see this example what this has to say. So here we have a class with the name book and there is a constructor that sets three properties, that is the title, the author and the publication year, that is pub year. Now the strange thing here is that instead of one modifier, access modifier, we have two, right? So initially or before 8.4 what we have to have is we either had public or private, right? There was no provision to write two access modifier on the property at once, but this has now changed in the version 8.4 and now we can write two access modifier on a single property. So if we consider this example, what this example says is it is a private for the set operation but public for the get operation. Okay, for the author it says it is private for the protected for the set operation and public for the get operation, and for the pub year it is private for the set operation and protected for the get operation. Okay, now here they have extended this example and they have created one class with a special book that extends book, and they have a public function inside it with the name update that takes two parameter, the author name that is string and int of and year of type int, and it returns a void. Now what they say is if we do this author, that will be okay, right? Now why is this okay? Because author, okay, we have to check the author. If we go back to the parent class, okay, here author is public for getting and protected for setting, right? So in the extended class what we are doing is we are setting it. Okay, so as per the rule, the child class should be able to access their parent class if the modifier is protected, right? So it is working fine. So here the protected, it is set to protected for the set operation for the author, and this is what we are doing here. So this should be working fine. That is the reason that they have commented here it as okay. Now if we try to assign the value of pub year here in this line, so this should throw an fatal error. The reason is if we go up to the parent class here, what does this say is it is protected for read, but for the set operation it is private. So the child class should not be able to set this because it has been set to the private. Access modifier is private. So here it says that it will throw a fatal error, which is logically correct. Now if we move on to the next line, what they have done is they have created an object of the type book, so here that this class, and they have tried to access the title. Okay, so this works because the title is public for get, right? It is private for set but public for get, so this will work. Then author will also work because this get operation is public but set operation is private. Okay, so we are getting the variable here, so it will work fine. Now if we try to access the pub year, okay, now the pub year is set protected for get and private for set. So in this example it will not work because we are trying to access a variable pub year which is set to protected for the get operation, right? So this will not work, and that is the reason they have said that this will throw a fatal error. Now moving on next, we have tried to access the title property. Okay, so title property we are trying to access, and if we see the access modifier of the title, what it is, so it is public for get operation and private for set operation. So if we try to assign the value of title, okay, so this will not accept. The reason is the set operation is set to private. Okay, so that is the reason it will throw an fatal error. Now if we try to set the author property, okay, that will also throw an fatal error, because the author property has public, is set public for the get operation, but for the set operation it is defined as protected. So it will not allow us to do that, and hence a fatal error will be thrown. If we try to set the pub here, okay, now pub here is defined as protected for the get operation and private for the set operation. So again this will throw a fatal error. That is what they have shown it here. So basically this example is very clear, and it explains us how we can use multiple access modifiers on a single property, which can help us to get and set the properties with ease. Moving on further, there are certain notes that are given below this example, so we'll read that once. It says only type properties may have a separate set visibility. The set visibility must be same as get or more restrictive. That is, public protected set, protected set are allowed, but protected public set will cause a syntax error. Now why is this? Why protected public set will cause a syntax error? Because see, the second property has to be restrictive, right? What they have said is the set visibility must be of same as get or more restrictive, right? The second property has to be more restrictive. The second modifier, the second access modifier has to be more restrictive. What we are doing here is, if we set protected public, the second modifier is public, right? It is not restrictive. Protected is more restrictive than public. So if we had to do this, it should be public then protected set, right? So the second access modifier should be more restrictive from the first one. This is what this line is saying. And let's move on. If a property is public, then main visibility may be omitted. That is, public private set and private set will have the same result. Okay, so this is just to cut down the confusion, that if we have a property that is public for getting, we can omit that, and we can directly define it as private set, which basically means public private set. And the next point is, a property with private set visibility is automatically final and may not be redeclared in the child class. So this is something that we need to keep in mind when we are extending a class. Obtaining a reference to a property follows set visibility, not get. This is because a reference may be used to modify property value. Similarly, trying to write to an array property involves both a get and a set operation internally, and therefore will follow the set visibility that is always the more restrictive. Okay, so in case of array, it involves both a get and set operation internally, and therefore this will follow a set visibility, as that is always more restrictive. Okay, so this works a bit different when it comes to array, because when we are trying to access an array or we are trying to write to an array property, it involves both a get and set operation. So it's basically a bit different when we are trying to set the values of an array. What does it say is spaces are not allowed in set visibility declaration. Private set is correct, private set is not correct, and this will result in a parse error. Okay, so you have to be careful while writing the syntax, because it says if you pass a space between the bracket and the set keyword, this will result into an parse error. So I think this was the example that they have given, and it is quite clear about how it can be applied in our code. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you find it helpful, do subscribe to my channel so that I will try to bring such more videos to you all. Thanks for watching.